Now that you understand the case study, it's time to learn about our dataset. Before we dig into the data, I'd like to introduce the concept of an ER diagram. An ER, or Entity Relationship Diagram, is a visual representation of a database's structure. ER diagrams show R tables and fields, and connects objects visually to show relationships. An ER diagram is a great resource to quickly understand the structure of a database. Here's the ER diagram of our Olympics dataset. It consists of 5 tables: Summer Games, Winter Games, Athletes, Countries, and Country Stats. Pay attention to the fields found in each table. You'll notice several ID fields. An ID field represents a unique object and allows for joins between 2 tables. For example, each ID field in the Countries table represents a unique country. This ID relates to the Country ID field in the Country Stats table. It should be no surprise then that when we join the 2 tables, we join on these 2 highlighted fields. Let's dig a bit deeper into each of the tables. The Athletes table appears straightforward. Each row represents an athlete, including their name, gender, age, height, and weight. The Summer Games and Winter Games tables have the exact same structure. Each row represents the results of a given athlete within an Olympic event. There are 3 fields that appear to represent the medalists in the event: bronze, silver, and gold. We will need to dig into these fields to understand their format. Countries is a straightforward table as well, as it simply includes the country and its corresponding region. Lastly, the Country Stats table tracks several metrics related to countries, including GDP, population, and Nobel Prize winners. When dealing with a novel dataset, I recommend taking the time to get a high-level understanding of the tables and relationships. There may be crucial fields that you are not aware of, but taking time to understand the tables and fields can help prevent that situation. Outside of giving a high-level overview of the tables and fields, ER diagrams can also be a good reference document when planning out large queries. If you know the required fields for your report, you can identify what tables need to be pulled by highlighting the relevant fields. Then, you can visually understand what types of joins, unions, and other logic may be needed when building your query. Here's an example. Let's say you are trying to build a report that shows total population by region. By looking at the ER diagram, we can quickly identify which fields are required, as highlighted. We now have an idea of what tables need to be pulled and should have an easier time setting up the query. According to the ER diagram, we can pull from the Countries table and then join to the Country Stats table on the ID and Country ID fields, as indicated by the connector. The full query is shown here, which joins countries to Country Stats to pull in region and pop in millions. Notice how the ON statement joins the 2 tables on the ID and Country ID fields respectively. Next up, let's practice using ER diagrams when